All right. We're in.
Okay. Hey.
Hey. Episode 3.
Woo!
We made it.
We made it. We have a fan base.
Wow. Well, yeah. People who've listened. Yeah. Welcome back to the XYZ. We are here on our 3rd episode already.
3rd episode.
Keeping a cadence.
Keeping it flowing. We're really excited. We really have committed to this.
We have committed. And
this theme.
We commit to today to keep it tight.
Tight. Yeah, we got a little chatty last time.
Yeah, we did.
So,
it was almost an hour.
We entertained ourselves, but I don't think our listeners.
Possibly not others.
We could have lost them. So
we're going to keep it tight.
We acknowledge that.
We're going to keep it right. We're going to keep it tight.
Yeah.
And what are we going to talk about today?
So today we're going to talk about pop culture.
Love it. Love pop culture.
So kind of going down memory lane a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And just talk about pop culture through the generations and how it's inspired us and
what we hang on to, what we let go, what haunts us.
So I saw somebody today.
All right, we're getting right into it.
Hanging on to the hair from circa 1983.
Okay, in what way? Be specific.
A very high, and like it almost looked like the spot perm.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
So it was like high pageant hair.
Sure.
So that's one that when you're 60, you might want to. It's time to let that one.
Time
go,
to part with.
Yeah,
it's time to part with. Yeah, so we're going to talk about fashion, beauty, TV, music, sort of just everyday things
fun stuff,
that I think we're going to explore. Also the theme of, do we as people inform pop culture? Does pop culture inform us? Is it a little bit of both? Is it all of it? Is it none of it? And see where it takes us.
Okay. What's Stella contributing today? Zella,
our resident Generation Z parrot, is listening in intently today. She has strep.
Oh, no.
So she can't talk.
Parrot strep.
The avian strep. We do promise, though, next session we're gonna have some excellent guests. So we're just lining those guys up.
Yeah, I think one of my learnings doing a podcast, it takes some time and planning. And,
we may have undershot that component of it. So we're learning. We're learning.
We're evolving. Yeah.
And that's what we're here to do and to remind people of. Yeah. All right, let's jump in. So,
okay. Hold on, my eye itches. Sorry.
Pop culture. What does that mean to you through your lens of a Gen Xer?
Just what's like popular, literally what's popular at the time. Like trends that come and go and what influences that. And I mean, me being the quintessential 70s, 80s girl, coming up teenager, especially as the 80s, it's all those things. It's like the high hairdo and the flash dance and the puffy sleeves, which I was thinking about as I was coming here, thinking about what we're going to talk about. Like, where did that puffy sleeves thing come from?
I don't know, but it's back. I just was at Target, and half the shirts had these sleeves that were ballooned about 18 inches in diameter.
I didn't like the look then, and I don't like it.
It's not flattering on a single person. That is baffling. But so when you think of your pop culture, you just said a few things. What are the staples? What are the things that define your youth?
You mean like in terms of like TV or movies?
Whatever. Whatever. Videos, music, food.
Food. Oh, food.
Food, yeah.
TV dinners were a big hit when I was growing up.
Yep. Yeah, those were new in
So it's
the
interesting,
60s.
like now there's like so much focus on like healthy food and am I hitting my protein targets for the day, which takes up way too much space in my head, by the way. Bottled water. We were talking about like our water vessels through the generations, right? We didn't have that.
No.
I remember like bottled water became a thing. My father was like, who the heck would pay for
water? Right.
The joke with Gen Z, like, we're the generation that drank water out of a tap hose.
Yeah.
The hose, rather. Yeah, so like TV dinners were big.
Yeah.
Because it was generationally like women were going back into the workforce.
They weren't cooking dinners
The technology,
anymore.
I guess, whatever. Is that what it is? Technology?
It was microwave became huge and like commoditized in the 60s.
Even before microwave,
Yeah.
But my favorite was the Salisbury steak.
Oh,
with the corn and the brownie. I loved it when my parents went out on Saturday night because I was going to get this. I don't even know if that's still around. I'm going to try.
Oh, I'm sure it's around. I mean, that Hungry Jack meal was around for a long time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try. I'm going to have to see.
Yeah,
it still hits. But
I mean, there's still frozen dinners everywhere, but not
Wonder
in
bread.
that.
We ate a lot of Wonder bread.
Oh, yeah, white bread. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Captain Crunch was a
not a huge focus on
fruits and vegetables. I mean, they were there.
Health.
They were there. So this is where I think it was kind of a health, at least like my experience was healthy because it was all available.
Yeah.
So there really wasn't like a issue. It wasn't like I was like...
You weren't overindulging
in one or the other. It was like all pretty balanced, I guess. And lived to tell about it, so I guess we're okay.
Well. All right, so what about...
And then I evolved into, my daughter calls me an almond mom when that became a thing a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah, you were a big almond mom, for sure.
I still eat almonds. And 5 prunes a day for bone health.
All right, 5 prunes a day. You've been warned.
For bone density.
I hate almonds, so I can't get on the almond train.
It's okay. There's plenty of other...
trains to hop on. I know.
Nuts
and I'm on a few of them. All right, so what about TV, though? What was your definitive programming?
So growing up, like when I was a little kid, like a kid, like Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
What was that one in the police station? I can't think of it, but it was a good show.
Was it a funny?
Yeah.
A comedy, a drama?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't know.
All in the Family was big.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
So, yeah. And so when you
Progressive.
Progressive, right? So when we think about, everyone reacts to like DEI and all that nowadays, but that's nothing new.
No.
And that was intentionally
that was provocative on purpose.
Very provocative on purpose.
Yeah.
Obviously during the height of civil rights.
Movement
and all that. But yeah.
So those were
and then as I evolved into a teenager, soap operas.
Peak soap opera time. Yes. Early 80s. Yes.
80s. So I was General Hospital gal.
Yeah.
Luke and Laura's Wedding was big.
You saw that? You witnessed that majesty?
I witnessed it. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think we even planned the day around that.
I'm sure.
And then my best friend growing up was whatever the other soap opera was on the other network.
Married with Children? Not Married with Children. That's a different show. That's from All My Children.
No, All My Children was on at 1.
Oh boy.
Then it was then it was something in between, and then it was General Hospital at 3. There was something at that 2 o'clock slot. I don't really remember. It kind of was like the buffer between. No, she was maybe Days of Our Lives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
One of those.
One of the other network, and we used to actually argue about which was the best soap opera in reality.
These are important arguments, though.
It was really just all interchangeable.
Yeah.
And I bet you if they're on, I don't even know if they're on anymore.
I think some of them are still
on. I bet you I could just watch it and hop right into the storyline.
Yeah,
30 years later.
Would literally miss nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have to give props, though, to soap operas. The amount of writing that goes into those, since they film every day.
Writing?
It's formulaic.
Yeah, I think it's...
But it's the writing and the acting. I know they're not usually the best actors on the planet, but they have to, every day, they have to show up and memorize a new episode. Very different than a movie actor.
And I wonder if those same writers evolved into, today's, Hallmark Channel.
They must. They go hand in hand.
It's not quite as dramatic, but it's the same kind of formula.
It's the same exact formula.
Mid-acting.
At best. All right. What about music?
So then nighttime soap operas.
Nighttime soap operas? Oh, the prime time.
Who Shot JR.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Primetime soaps.
Yeah. That was big.
Yeah.
Dynasty.
These are ones
big
I've only
hair,
heard of.
Big sleeves.
Never got to witness those. You would square up around the TV and watch it?
Yeah. Who Shot JR was huge.
Yeah.
Because that was just... They the nation was on edge and everyone just had their TVs timed. I don't even know if we had VCRs then to record. Like you had to like
you had to be there.
And like be on the phone with your friend watching it at the same time. And
wow.
It was a big deal. And people are taking bets on who shot JR, and then you had to wait till the next season.
Well, and so in the end, spoiler alert from 40 years ago, who did shoot JR?
I don't remember.
Okay. If anyone knows, let us know. Because I feel like that is such an iconic part of like collective memory.
Like early 80s, yeah.
But like I know the reference, like I get it right away, but I don't know any of beyond that. That's it. That's where my knowledge stops. Except that was it the actor who was in Dallas?
JR.
Wasn't he the same one who went on to be the dad in Step by Step on TGIF? Generations. So
I don't think so.
I'm almost positive. Patrick Duffy is the actor's name.
No, he was not JR.
He was a JR.
JR was the other guy. He used to be on Dream of Jeannie, I think.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't remember now.
Okay. But Patrick Duffy was in Dallas.
He was in Dallas, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a connection.
I think he's JR's brother.
Okay.
I'm never going to have to look this up.
We're very well researched. Well, I mean, it's a good segue, though, because I just teed up the TGIF component of my pop culture recollection, which is spanned, I think, the duration of the 90s and well into the aughts. But the peak TGIF, which was, for anyone who doesn't know,
I don't know what that is.
the Friday night programming on ABC between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m.
Oh. So
every night. So it's like
Saved by the Bell era?
No, Saved by the Bell was a different network.
Oh, like Nickelodeon or something.
This was in its prime consisted of Full House, followed by Family Matters, Urkel.
Oh, Urkel, yeah.
Then Step by Step came on.
What's Step by Step?
Step by Step was a little bit later. It was what's her name? The Patrick Duffy and his wife, who was the blonde one who did the Thigh Master.
Oh, Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers came together as a blended family, and they each had 3 kids. It was a modern day Brady Bunch, basically.
Okay.
And then the 4th hour or the 4th block would always kind of vary. Then Boy Meets World came into the mix. The original lineup, forgive me, I missed one, was Perfect Strangers.
Oh, I remember that.
With Balky, and that was wonderful. But that was only on for like maybe 3 years or so. And then it moved into sort of...
But wasn't that a spin-off of Mork?
Something else.
Mork.
Yes, it spun off of Mork and Mindy, I think.
Mork and Mindy. Which
like
was
loosely.
Robin Williams.
But
like,
that was way back too.
In the day.
So
way back in the Wayback Machine.
TGIF came out at some point in potentially the late 80s, but for sure early 90s.
Come into play.
So that was a different network. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was WB Fox or whatever at the time, and that was in the afternoons. So there was a whole there was Friday night programming was awesome for families. And so you would get the popcorn and you'd sit there and you'd make your night from 8 to 10 and you'd watch all these shows back to back to back to back. Then there was the weekday programming in the afternoon, which was, there was Fresh Prince, there was Saved by the Bell. And sometimes they'd have nighttime specials and stuff, but they were always in the afternoons so that you would come home from school and you'd be able to watch them. And so
I think my generation's afternoon thing was like game shows.
Oh yeah. Game shows weren't really big until I was in high school again when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire came back.
Oh, they had a resurgence.
So there was nothing, and then Regis brought it all back, and then there was Make a Deal. Then there was 1,000 things after that, but he reignited the interest in I think on
I was
television.
That was like a snow day thing or like Christmas break. You just binge watched in the morning. And then into the afternoon, and like Hollywood Squares, they were so funny. And
those are funny, yeah. Probably not appropriate for sitting.
You would never get away with it now.
No, never. But I mean, there were so many. Oh, and I just remembered another Friday night thing: Home Improvement. So Tim Allen. So I mean, all of these were completely formative in like who you had crushes on, because these were all these are the only actors you saw. like in that world were all these young kids and you became obsessed with them. Like Jonathan Taylor Thomas was one of the sons on Home Improvement.
Yeah.
And then he went on to have a pretty, you know, colored career in Disney movies and stuff. But like he was a figure of obsession for people. Bethany, my sister, was obsessed with him to like a serious point. I enjoyed him as well, you know, but like that's where everyone got their like fix.
Their exposure to their media.
Great.
Yeah.
And then, you know, obviously then the internet age started. And so then it widened and then it became less of a like sit down and watch at a certain time focus. But the other thing that was huge during my generation, I can say I'm not really a part of, was the whole Friends movement.
Oh, yes.
So it was like,
was in my 20s.
Content-wise, it was probably geared more towards you.
So we watched that on the regular.
I did not.
Like in my 20s. Yeah. Friends.
Seinfeld.
Which I didn't love Friends. I know that
I
might
never,
be blasphemy.
me too.
Like, I was entertaining. It was fine.
Get into fights with people about this a lot.
Frasier I loved.
Frasier I loved too.
Frasier was that
era.
Yeah.
It was really smart and really clever.
Smart and funny and sarcastic. Friends was just...
I didn't like Friends, and I felt like the odd man out always for that because everyone was so into it.
Kids love watching it now.
They love it now. It came full circle. Seinfeld obviously was on the same block as Friends. Frasier was on. Thursday night NBC was the big night.
No one's going to remember this, but one of my favorite sitcoms from that era was Just Shoot Me.
Loved Just Shoot Me with David Spade.
David Spade.
Yes.
What's her name? Wendy Malick.
Wendy Malick.
I love her and everything.
She's the best. You remind me of Wendy Malick, actually.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she's in that show Shrinking now on HBO Max with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. And she plays like her own age. Like she's not like being aged up or down. And she's so beautiful and funny and quirky. And she's like the love interest to Harrison Ford.
Dry.
And she's a doctor. And she's, I just love her.
I had the Food Network on it. Just I digress. Food Network on the other day. It was like Valerie Bertinelli.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she's reinvented herself.
Yes. As a food guru. Yeah.
Talk about my era. She was in that show One Day at a Time, I think it was.
Yeah, that's one I don't track with.
It was a single mom raising two teenage girls.
Okay.
She and Mackenzie Phillips.
Oh, yeah.
And then she married Eddie Van Halen and all the things, right?
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, so she has this channel on the Food Network, and she was in that show with Wendy Malick and Betty White. And the woman that played Daphne in Frasier, and I don't remember her name.
It was on for a long time.
It's Hot in Cincinnati. Maybe?
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, so in her little cooking show, she had the ladies for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And Wendy Malick was just so funny having lunch with Valerie and the girls. And I was like, I love Wendy Malick. So funny.
Shout out to Wendy Malick. I love it.
Not sponsored, Wendy.
But I mean, this is a good example and relevant. These are people who have literally jumped through the generations and found a new audience in each one. I mean, I have to say there's probably a lot of people who do that now, though. I feel like there's been a lot of actors who've kind of had this rebirth again. And maybe it's because we're in this moment of nostalgia with Gen Z being very keen and Gen Alpha, like, looking toward, going back 30, 40 years and just picking it all up again. But there's, like, all this renewed interest in some of the same people I remember from
back in the day?
When I was 5. Yeah. It's wild. But what about stuff that didn't age well? So when you think about music,
high hairdos.
High hair. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just like glad it didn't because my hair was not.
It was never cooperating with that. Yeah. I mean, I do have very distinct memories of you having high hair.
I got there, but it was a lot.
A lot of hairspray, a lot of damage to the environment.
My hair is like thin now because I damaged it. Yeah, there's like one complete ozone layer missing.
Yeah, that entire generation of you guys used Aquanet hairspray. I mean, there was a lot in my generation that I feel like if I were to see now, I would cringe. A lot of but I am seeing it now, so I am cringing. Just the oversized, baggy t-shirts. I mean, that was my entire elementary school. Mm-hmm. Was this? It was 90s, and so everything was like sports focused. It was like peak Chicago Bull Run. It was like
Sports Jam,
Space Jam.
Yeah.
Like the men's U.S. basketball team had won like 6 Olympics. Like everything was just like sports. And so all of fashion was boxy, oversized T-shirts and starter jackets.
Oh, starter jacket.
Which I just
remember the color block.
Yeah.
That was going on too.
Oh, color block windsuits.
Yeah.
I actually have a funny story about windsuits. I wanted a matching windsuit set so bad for Christmas one year. And we opened up our gifts in the morning and I did not get one. And I didn't say anything, obviously. And I was just so sad and disappointed and like
Christmas fail right there.
but we went to grandma's house in the afternoon for like big family, and grandma would give us a couple gifts, i.e. mom would supply them. And I finally got my tracksuit at grandma's house. But the entire Christmas day, I was a nasty beast, weeping basically because I didn't get my matching windsuit. And when I got it, it was delightful. I remember it
Did
still.
it have like the elastic around the ankle?
Elastic around the ankles, really insulated on the inside, so you were sweating. It was like you were a wrestler trying to like make weight. And it was a beautiful, like hunter green was the base color. Mm-hmm. And I had some cut-ins of purple and
there had
white.
To be some fuchsia in there.
For sure some fuchsia or some sort of pink or cranberry. It was a great set. And I would always wear it with a turtleneck, just in case I wasn't hot enough. But that was a thing. Like that was peak 90s windsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, but now, I see that now and I'm like, oh my God, no, never, 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 never. But a lot of it's coming back. And they look a lot cuter in it now than I remember feeling when I wore it 35 years ago.
Well, and what's interesting too, kind of related, but not really, is like the scrunchy socks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of a nod to the leg warmers.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I bought a few of leg warmers in the last few years. I don't know why. I wore them, I remember, a couple times, like with boots, but it didn't sit right for me. It didn't feel right.
You just gotta do you.
Well, and the new thing that I'm very much on board with, this is something I'm pleased came back around, was the Adidas's reinvention of the Sambas.
Oh, the Sambas.
Well, actually, they didn't reinvent anything. They simply started to focus on remarketing them. And I never had a pair growing up. I never played soccer. It was the one sport I never played. And I was deeply envious of the kids who did play soccer and wore Sambas. Because the idea was that you wore Sambas only if you played soccer.
So
they were
cool.
indoor soccer shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And I never got them. They were also very expensive. And so then I phased out of interest. And then now I'm like, I need Sambas. So when we were living in Germany, you're in the land of Adidas. And so I finally got my first pair of Sambas. And I felt like I had just hit the lottery. Now I own like 5 or 6 pair of colored Adidas shoes. Needlessly.
But let's talk about that, because I think what's unique in this point in time is this whole sneaker culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that not a thing though? For you?
Sneaker culture to where it is now?
No, it's more of like, it's just an accessory for us now. It needs to be like a complement to everything else. It's less utility than maybe they used to be, which is why you have so many.
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
Yeah. I do love a good casual sneaker though. I love it.
And I think like that whole sneaker thing, like I think it was all the Air Jordan.
Yep.
I think that really
kicked it off.
I
think that was the first successful like shoe marketing effort.
I think the other shoes were like obviously popular and people coveted, but to your point, it was more like very like around a sport.
Right.
Not so much fashion.
No.
Where I feel like sneaker culture is definitely
it's a thing now.
Definitely a thing. I'm here for it because my feet hurt.
Well, that's it. I'm like, I can't. I wear my different versions of my Sambas like with everything. I will look really good knee up. It's just a pair of bright green Sambas. But you could pull it off.
Pull it off now. It's all
I could pull anything off. You got the money to buy it now. I didn't have the money back then. I couldn't buy what I wanted. And now I want it. So I'm going to do it. But let's talk for a minute too, because there's hilarious memes out there and people who make amazing content about the problematic content and nature of TV shows in particular, or like magazines, or the way news was being framed for people not that long ago. So I just saw one the other day about how that phenomenon of America's Next Top Model, you know, that Tyra Banks did the 20 years ago, how that had the nation in a chokehold. Like everyone was watching that show and loved it, loved it, loved it. And all she would do in it was just shame these women who were, you know, already size 2 and exquisite and gorgeous. And we'd all just be like, yeah, that's totally fine to do because they're trying to be a model. You know, like she got away with this absolutely awful treatment that then, you know, clearly has knock-on effects into society. But that's just one example. There's a million, like...
Well, when I was coming up, really, it was the entree to, like, all the supermodels.
Yeah.
So it was the era
you were in
like,
peak supermodel.
Like Cindy Crawford.
Yeah.
I mean, Christy Brinkley was a little older than her, but Christy Brinkley, Cheryl T.
Naomi Campbell, all them.
Then it was, like, Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss, who was, like, so thin. Yeah. Really.
Yeah. I mean, that had to have created a lot of tension and a lot of stress for young women in particular.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
For you, no? Did you not feel that?
Growing up, so it was like since I was like child in the 70s, and really the aesthetic that was considered beautiful really was like Cheryl Teagues and Christy Brinkley, like that very like blonde, blue-eyed, all-American girl. So I do distinctly remember feeling like ugly.
Right. Because you just are the exact opposite
the
of
exact
that.
opposite.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's not unique to any one generation, but that supermodel era was definitely big and new.
Yeah. And set a lot of society up for a lot of trouble, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you were consuming like Cosmo.
Yeah.
Everything was all about like,
Marie Claire, Cosmo.
You know, looks and
everything.
Sex and this and that and like whatever.
How to just be better than the version of yourself that you are. Which is, ugh. But I mean, I bought those. Like we all read them. We all like did what we could. Knowing it was never going to work. Ever.
Well, it's really interesting now because, you know, I think, because now know better, do better, one, but in particular, what I was going to say, what's top of mind at the moment is like skincare. Like people are so into their skin and sunblock and all the things that are the right things. But when I was growing up, it was like the copper tone baby and the Soleil girl.
Smear yourself with oil.
So, I mean, I fit in there because
you can actually tan. Lucky. Yeah.
Not so lucky now because I have the effects of it, but
I mean, it's the same thing with smoking, right? I mean, I distinctly remember that being a component of my young childhood because late 80s, early 90s was finally when Philip Morris, all those guys got slapped with lots of new regulations, and they went hard in the schools into this no smoking thing. I remember
because like they were saying like Camel cigarettes with the Joe Camel.
Yes,
you know, it was really marketing towards
kids.
Kids.
Which whether that's true or not, I don't know, but like that was a good way in, and so then they kind of doubled down and overcompensated in the schools and stuff with anti-smoking campaigns. I mean, but it was still such a topic that I remember me and two friends in high school did our senior marketing project on a like anti-smoking campaign. We did a like no smoking for a week in Danbury campaign. Like it was still relevant enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you were still smoking in restaurants and there was still the smoking and non-smoking sections.
Which was so stupid.
I mean, so dumb.
The air's gonna know.
Yeah. But like that was very much a part of my childhood until I went away to college and then I came home and everything had been turned
everywhere. I mean, it was just a thing. It just did it. Like,
but that's that thing is one of those things that I like the kids now, like my kids thankfully will never hopefully know that.
Yeah, they don't know.
But that was just what it was. Every room you walked into smelled like smoke.
I remember like in college, I worked briefly at a telemarketing firm. And that's all everybody did.
Yeah.
Was just like dial light up and dial light up.
Oh my God.
That was the whole.
That was it. Everyone just chain smoking, making their
Selling
calls.
encyclopedias, whatever. I don't even remember what the hell we were selling.
I love it. I mean,
magazine subscription, like chain smoking. It was crazy.
I mean, I will say, the U.S., for all its flaws, I think was largely successful in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's still big in Europe.
Huge in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some countries are better than others, but it's just very much social. It's a part of their culture, and everywhere you go, you smell it. And I mean, now the smells are shifting towards pot.
Oh my God.
So
I told you I was at the flea market the other day. I got a total contact high.
Yeah.
Walking in.
I know. Who needs to buy weed when you can just walk through clouds of stuff all over the place?
But that's like a culture shift.
Yeah.
Fast.
Very fast. Yeah.
I mean, one that we saw coming.
Yeah, there were a lot of signs.
You know, a lot of signs. I mean, and I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either.
People do, but I'm just like, okay, well, if I can drink.
Right.
And if you can smoke pot responsibly.
Right.
That's the responsibly
part that's always.
But that's regardless of whatever your substance of choice is.
Right, whatever your vice is, there needs to be a level of responsibility.
A lot of it coming out of cars.
There's a lot of car baking going on. I go on my walks, and there are pockets of my neighborhood that someone loves doing, just walking around their house, taking some puffs, or they're growing it. Whatever. And so, I mean, it is now. It is just.
But that's
fabric.
Really interesting, right? Like how. Like just over generations, like
not long at all.
It's pretty acceptable.
It is
more or less.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It's interesting because not more than 15, 20 years ago that was so secretive.
Now would be like,
yeah,
that's like weird.
It is funny though, that stigma. I mean, I am proud to say I have literally never put a cigarette on my lips. Almost not really intentionally. I've never had. I'm actually mad. No one's ever asked me. Like, that was that whole thing before you go to high school. It's like, be careful. Someone's going to ask you to take a smoke. And what are you going to say?
I know. You're so worried. Like, someone's lurking.
And so I was like, spent, 10 years, before going into school, being like, I'm ready to say no. And it never happened. And parents like, God damn it, can someone offer me a cigarette?
Just, I practiced this skill.
It was a life skill I didn't end up needing. And then... But it's, then it's like, now it doesn't even faze me because it's no longer,
smoked it now.
Like, it's just no longer around you in that way. But like,
I smoke socially, like in bars.
I've learned that most people had, actually.
And so I don't even know if I really finished one.
Right.
Or if it was just more like.
Right. It was the act of.
Because it makes me like really gag if I smell somebody who's smoking a lot. But sometimes if I smell somebody first lighting up, I'm a little bit like
Isn't that interesting? Even still, like, that memory is still there.
Yeah, but I never, thankfully,
you
never had that
hooked on them.
Yeah. It really was just more of like a thing to do in nightclubs back in the day.
Nightclubs.
Get my hair
with your long cigarette holder. Was that you?
With my test tube shot and my high hair.
Oh geez, test tube shots.
That was fun.
Well, let's talk a little bit about alcohol while we're on the topic, because I think there's been a big evolution in American binge drinking, both in how it's done and then also like what people are drinking now, like as you move through your phases of life. So like I didn't drink at all until college. And even then it's like you don't have any money, so you're drinking God knows what kind of Russian vodka out of a CVS and, Busch Light.
I think some of that changed because we have somebody dear to us who was saying that Josh wine. If you'd like to sponsor it, happy to accept one.
Once again, Josh wine. Yeah.
It was their college wine.
Oh, yes.
And we're apologetic because it was their college wine.
Well, that just shows different...
Gee, that's my...
that's like my semi-expensive bottle of wine to drink at home with friends. Not a college wine. But that just shows, different experiences, different walks of life.
Things evolve.
Yeah. I mean, wine for sure became a thing that younger kids drink now. Like, when I was growing up, wine was... That was not something that you did until you were
college,
like way old, or at
like
church.
Dean's Farm or something. I don't even know. Zima came out.
Zemo?
Zima.
What is that?
Talk about that was in the 90s. And it was sort of like the original malt liquor. I guess it was like the precursor to salters now.
Okay.
So that was just a flashback, sorry.
Zima, I'm gonna have to look it up. We liked it. I remember my college friends and I, we liked the Arbor Mist, which was like the, fruity.
Yeah, like Dune Farm.
Yeah, and I would make fun of my mom because she would drink the Bartles and James. Oh. Like, it was just that light, super carbonated, like sugary, soda wine or whatever. But then...
But I do think the younger people, like Gen Zs, are more sophisticated.
Very sophisticated. They drink they drink less. I know they drink a lot less. They smoke more.
Smoke more weed.
So that's also, I think, parallels changes in regulation and all of that. But they definitely don't drink as much as millennials or Gen X. And what they drink is really like bougie. Like very specific tastes. They know what they like. They know what they don't. Meanwhile, I'm like, my God. If you went out, it was like if someone wanted to buy shots for everyone, it was those just disgusting, Jaeger shots
like kamikaze shots.
Or lemon drops, like just the worst of the worst things you could think of. Goldschlagers and I mean, just despicable stuff.
What's your drink of your era that you got sick on and you can't touch now?
This is a really hard question. The only one that I couldn't drink any more of for a brief moment in time was not from my youth, though. It was from my adulthood. It continues to be my preferred drink of choice, but I took about a 3-year hiatus.
I know what that is.
Gin martinis, Bombay Sapphire gin martinis. Extremely dry. Basically, it's just gin shaken up. And I had one too many one New Year's Eve, and
I remember
I was deathly sick. Yep, that was not great, but I've come back to those. I just enjoyed one last night. Love them, but it took time. My drink now, my go-to is tequila, but that in and of itself had its own.
That's a whole renaissance. Yeah,
because initially it was like, oh, you do a tequila shot at the bar, like, oh no, gross, disgusting, a Cuervo, or like. Now, God bless George Clooney.
No hate to Jose Cuervo if you want
to sponsor. However, asterisk, Casamigos is my favorite. I spend a fortune on Casamigos Reposado. So that would be great.
Gold or white?
Reposado Gold. Oh, of course. There is no liquor on this planet.
In case someone's listening.
Better than that. I've tried now. We are lucky to have a friend who has access to like wholesale distributors, and so he gets all these fancy tequilas, and we're like trying to find one that's better, and we cannot. And it is, if you are a tequila purist, if you like to just sip a delicious cold tequila, there is absolutely nothing better at all. Nothing. Don't ruin it with tonic. Don't ruin it with salt or margarita and juice and calories.
Jalapenos.
Straight out the gate, and sip it. Don't take a shot. Sip it. Okay. It will change your life. And kill your liver. But it metabolizes well, tequila, apparently. It's one of the...
wasn't it part of that diet?
The one that
the
all of the...
diet.
That's what I was just about to say. The one that all of the CrossFitters did. Yeah. Neanderthal is what I'm thinking of,
what
too.
It is. I know. We know what we're talking about. I'm sure people do know what we're talking about.
With just like the...
It'll come to me.
Oh my God, how is it not? Yeah. But anyway, tequila was on the list.
Because it's like
so good.
Agave flavor.
Exactly. So that's how I justify it. I'm just having fruit.
It's just a health drink.
Yeah. It's a health drink. It is. All right. I mean, I'm wearing an intentionally nostalgic sweatshirt today for anyone in the Connecticut, New York area. Stu Leonard's. Because they started selling these this Christmas at their store, and so I swooped a couple up for my sister and I. And I mean, it was just an absolute paramount part of my childhood. Like, before it became this giant, beautiful store, it was a tent.
Yeah.
And it was milk, and it was eggs, and it was a farm store.
And it was a big deal when it was coming to town.
Yeah. And then they took 5 years to build the monstrosity that it is today. And it was so close to where I grew up that when I did start going out in my early 20s, if I was feeling unwell the night after or the morning after a night out, I would walk down the hill, get myself a fountain soda at Stu Leonard's, which nothing beats fountain soda when you're hungover, and would just walk around for free samples. Just like a homeless person. I mean, I would pay for the soda, and then I would just saunter back up the hill. And then by the time I got home again, a little exercise, a little sugar, a little free food.
And you were trapped because the way that's designed.
You have to go like a mouse in a maze.
Which I think that they were like,
they were one of the first ones to do that.
Like all kinds, like the top business school marketing programs that their marketing was so ingenious.
Yeah.
No offense to Leonard's. I personally can't stand it because I just want to go get the milk.
Well, you know the little cut-throughs, though.
Like the whole store.
You know the little, like, they give little openings now where you can escape through.
Like a little mousetrap.
Anywhere where there's a band of dancing milk cartons, there's
that's
usually an exit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. I could sing every one of those songs from memory right now if you'd like me to.
Should go for it.
Well, there's the Henrietta, the world's fastest egg-laying chicken. And then she doesn't say much. They just keep saying that. And she's like, "Bawk, bawk, bawk, bawk," and that's it. And then there's the Chiquita banana.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, I mean, that's legendary.
That
it's
fun.
the Chiquita banana, makes a great meal.
My kids were afraid of the cow.
Things. Yeah, why is everyone afraid of the cow? There's a mechanical cow that just goes moo.
But I guess if you're a small child and there's a massive cow in your face, or
my son didn't like it either. Yeah. They didn't like it. They'd be like, "Ah, ah." But the singing, octuplet band of milk cartons just playing at you every 5 minutes. Apparently, they loved. So
and the stick of butter that danced along.
Oh God, Stu Leonard's. If you'd like to sponsor us, Stu Leonard's. Feel free. I do love Stu's wines. They've expanded, and so it's kind of a merging of all my loves. Like,
yes,
just walking around. I wish they had free samples, but they don't. Last question to wrap us up. So, was there anything from your memory that older people around you from other generations just flat out couldn't understand? That you were sort of like, oh, this is so cool and you don't understand. And do you experience that now with your own kids, or did you experience that?
I think like the casual dress. So my father couldn't understand. So sometimes I would go to school in like jeans or like sweatpants and my leg warmer. And my Reebok high tops.
Right.
Like he did not.
He's like, "Where is your 3-piece suit?" Yeah.
So I don't know if that was a generation thing.
I think so.
Thing. He also didn't understand my hair. Because he used to say, "You have such a beautiful face. Why are you hiding it?
Why are you hiding it under this bushel of hair?"
So those are two core memories.
That's funny. That's good. That's a perfect example. Yeah, of where he just was probably like, "I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it."
What about you?
My mom really, really did not understand the middle school and high school do your own hair and makeup stuff. Like, not do your own, but the need to like present yourself every day. I don't know if this makes sense. So like it was a lot of goofy makeup, like blue eyeliner, and there was like colored mascara. It was a rough phase of the late 90s, early 2000s. And I wasn't allowed to do those things, but like she saw everyone around me was. And so like I would do them anyway once I got to school. And so like I'd come home with eyeliner on and she'd be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, everyone else is doing it. Like, let me do it. And so she eventually did, but didn't understand. So her whole thing was like similar to what it sounds like Grandpa said to you, was like, you don't need to do that. Why are you doing that to your face? And it was not because she was opposed to makeup. It was because the makeup was genuinely hideous. And so she was right, but was it like had to let me.
Spears kind of era?
Yeah, it was like Claire's makeup. It was this just really, everything was like jelly colored and like gems and just, it was not good.
Oh, like the bedazzling era.
Yeah, and and I didn't know how to do any of it because clearly my mom was not being like, let me teach you how to do the eyeliner. I was just like, and then, you know, I had crazy hair, as you can attest to as a kid, and it was big and fluffy. And that age in the 90s and 2000s was sleek, straight, pulled back. And I did not want to be a complete leper. And so I had to tame my hair.
We should have just swapped hair.
Swap hair. It would have worked nicely. Yeah. And that was pre-flat irons. So I wasn't able to manipulate my hair in any way.
So you're fighting it just all the time.
Fighting it terribly and crazy. And so I would just, my mom would either, especially when I was young, like still middle school and elementary school, like she would do my hair one way and I'd come back home a different way. And that created a lot of tension because I would take it out and do it the way everyone else was doing it, which was these, you know, sleek back buns on the head or like slick back with these two pieces hanging down the front, which was disgusting because mine were ringlets. I looked like a doll that you would buy, like a ceramic doll. And so those were, it was mostly beauty related. Like there was just a lot of tension around that because it was gross and hideous, but I wanted to be a part of it. All right. Well, it's fun going down memory lane.
It was fun.
We will come back again with a special guest next time. And I think we're going to start tackling into some really meaty topics. I think in the next few episodes, we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about that common sense phenomenon. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about the workplace tension. We got some good ones coming up.
Yeah. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.